A very warm welcome to Royal Bangalore Food. My name is Paul, and you're watching Royal Bangalore Food. Once upon a time, the Bangalore was called the pensioners' paradise. Everybody used to be back home by 6 o'clock. It's serene, the garden city, lovely breeze, always chilly, 3,000 feet above the sea level. Now, such was the dimension and the most a poetic expression of Bangalore. Bangalore was also called the sleeping city. Bangalore has gone a revolution, tipsy-turvy, ups and downs in many other contexts and whatnot. From a pensioner's paradise to the brewery city is what we're going to look at it today. Such a vibrant city. We have these cherry blossoms springing on the autumn level on the seasons, and pure serenity of less traffic or probably no traffic at all. Even on the airport, old airport road is where I grew up, and there were many things to talk about it. People used to just walk. People used to cycle. This is way back in 1987 onwards, where I would take it through in that level. And once upon a time, it was just a masala puri, a masala dosas in the mornings or idli vadas was a prime food to thrive for. And guess what? Comes to 2000, the revolution in IT. We call Bangalore's become the Silicon Valley. All the engineers woke up, did C++ coding, went to Aptech, went to NIT, woke up all the late nights, call centers cropped up day in and out. Women started working in the night shift. And then what? There's a huge boom and hue and cry for the best food in town. And to capitalize, in my college days, Bangalore was also called the pub city. The amount of pubs was there is tremendous. The pub city grew on its own from the Silicon Valley when the IT boom hit Bangalore, and that's when the pub always kept rising and Bangalore was known as the capital city. It is sheer presence and the innovative spirit of Bangaloreans who were there present. You had to go and do a night out. There was no precise place, but then so many places starting from Brigade Road. The Church Street was flooded and you could only find the entire pubs was available there. The first pub which has come up in Bangalore was called the Beer Club, and then we had the legendary Picos, then we have Legends of Rock, then we have Guzzlers Inn, Downtown Pub, then we have the Pub World, then we have the so many pubs in and around Bangalore, Residency Road. Then the Black Cadillac happened. The Black Cadillac was a revolution wherein they had live music, the DJ was in town. But back then we had Nikhil Chinnappa was playing in all over Bangalore. That's when it kick-started off, and many, even though the Bollywood, the Channel V, the MTV did survive in Bombay, but then partly the raves party, what we call it as. So many thing was happening in the year of 2000 and plus. And in the year of 2000, in the blast of Silicon Valley and in the Y2K and the startup revolution happened in Bangalore. That's when the corporates wanted to stream out and parties out. That's when the first brewery started in Bangalore way back in 2010, probably even matter of fact 8 or 7 I would say. This is when the Toit, a fantastic brewery, even now they survive, they do extremely well, a very cozy place, and then many cropped up and many went on to become one of the most prime locations. It is sheer for the spirit of Bangalore and sheer spirit for the innovative of a lot of corporates, a lot of old Bangaloreans. The city has seen multiples of changes, thousand-folds up from the way Bangalore was, and then now. Now it's very clear that the innovative spirit has died down. It's only the amount of beer brewery which has come up is tremendous. It is also for the reason that Bangalore has become a food capital. It was initially Delhi, Mumbai, they would say Calcutta, just only for the food. But then the wine came in and paired very well with the food in Bangalore as well. It's also thanks to the wonderful weather that we have and also for the wonderful, the close proximity. You need not to travel; it's all within the city. But then off late, it is also moved on to the various locations of Bangalore, in and around, probably outskirts of Bangalore, 20-30 kilometers away, I would say, and then all this brewery propped up. It's also, they have the theme-based concept. I mean, we can also look at it in terms of what exactly kicked in. It's very clear. One was a corporate, one was a beer culture which has come into picture. I mean, thanks to Vijay Mallya when he bought that Pilsner, London Pilsner, when he bought that company and started off Kingfisher Premium Lager, draft beers, just sold in every possible pubs. Having said that, recently we also have very not recent, but at least 10-15 years old now, a company called Geist, which is actually formidably done on the most best brews of beer, many varieties of it, stout, wheat beer. Then you have the Irish beer. Then we have I mean, there's also fantastic beer, especially in the summer season when it comes the mangosteen beer. I mean, that's another class of everybody have gone ahead and innovated on the beer. As I said, it pairs well with the corporate for them to come and have wonderful food laid out. So, in and around, in a nutshell, I would say brewery has added employment to this category of industry. I mean, right now, I would say it's Byg Brewski, which is the largest pub right now. I mean, the brewery, one of the largest pub in Bangalore, brewery, I would say. They still employ close to 350 employees in one particular outlet. Just imagine the Iron Hill, what it did to Bangalore. It's a maximum capacity of seating arrangement. And recently we had here another large, they say it's Asia's another largest pub. That's massive. So the employment opportunity also gives you a certain, for those who really wanted to showcase in terms of barmen, in terms of the culinary aspect of chefs. I mean, the entire industry has grown along with it. In turn, it also helps a lot of vendors like meat, your groceries, specifically your beer, because your beer is made up of three important ingredients. One is the barley, one is wheat, and one are the hops. The reason why it's also more economical in Bangalore, it's because of these three items is plenty available, because it leads to the millets category. So that's when it really boomed up, because if you see Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and for the matter of fact Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, and even for the matter of fact Madhya Pradesh yields the amount of millets. And even though India was known as a millet country, a millet capital, but still it was not being utilized under circumstances. So the brewery which helped to yield all these millets and convert it to fantastic beer was the talk of the town. And there were large brewery which has also been set up, and also the microbrewery. Currently there is close to 70 breweries in Bangalore as we speak, and you never know, it is just growing, and thus is the capital city of brewery. So from the pensioners paradise till the brewery city, as its immense value, it really adds at least 10% of the GDP for Karnataka, for this particular state as well. And it is a growing industry of 15% of CAGR, as a compound annual growth rate, which is still growing, and still, there's a possibility of having a fantastic beer. But what are the pros and the cons side of it? We'll take a look at it. But just want to mention another thing is that the brewery which has come precisely in Bangalore is more or less to attract the ambience, to attract the 3 hours of entertainment. Thanks to the wonderful traffic that we have in Bangalore, are sorted. So the reason why it does really well, even in the Monday to Thursday and Friday, the economics part of it, the commerce part of brewery, is that they were able to literally thrash the 5-star and the 4-star hotels in Bangalore, because it's not only about the service, it's about the ambience, it's about the brewery, the amount of at least 10 varieties of breweries. I mean, the beer, amazing food from the continental, from the country style, the local cuisine, from the Greek cuisine to Mesopotamian, Mediterranean, the Arabs, the Gulfs, in terms of your Southeastern, obviously your Chinese, your Korean, Japanese, everything is available at one particular go, is the beauty about the brewery. Now, if you have any more comments, any more questions, you can always look at it, the video, and also comments below. But then my favorite is also being very close to my proximity is the Iron Hill right here.
then we have Byg Brewski, and then we have, these are the largest pubs. Why am I saying entertainment? Now just imagine you had to travel a 4-kilometer drive from Bangalore, wherever at any point of time, at any point of day. It literally would take at least 1 hour or so, just for the maximum 5 kilometers, let's say. That's the horrendous of the city culture, which has grown up and creeped into this massive, this chain of traffic which doesn't allow you to travel as a family. So thus says that entertainment is also been available in brewery. Partly also they have fantastic live music, and also they get a lot of the live music which is available. That's tremendous. Back in our days, we used to have only one particular show, which is always happen on August 14th. We call it as Freedom Jam. Yeah, Freedom Jam would go the entire August 14th evening till 15th of August, till the mid of 15th of August. The whole 1.5 day of just sheer passion of close to 5 or 6 stages, massive stages, having fusion, metal, rock, classical. It was class apart. Now that, apart from that, then the early 2000s, we see a lot of bands coming in, utilizing in Palace grounds. So we saw Bryan Adams coming in 5 times, MLTR, we have Maiden, we have Megadeth, we have Metallica. Maiden at least had come in twice or thrice. Then we had Lamb of God. The best live music entertainment was happening through DN networks in Bangalore. Now this is also gone. Now the only option that we all have, take your kids along, take your women and your ladies or your mothers or your wives along, your aunts along, and plus enjoy very good ambience with your food service delivery system, as well as your live music, which you can see live happening at front of you. That's the entertainment of the peak that you can get in Bangalore, specifically in breweries. Now this is what it yielded, the amount of breweries which could come in. Everybody has a different concept. Everybody starting from the dungeon to the jail to the, they've taken the various array of innovative thoughts, and it's all because of the corporate which is lined up in Bangalore. Because if you see the sales peak, it's always between Monday to Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the weekends has always been buzzing with family. When the family is coming into your particular brewery, and that says it all. And a lot of good breweries across in Sarjapur Road, in Hennur, and probably even in Whitefield, Marathahalli, JP Nagar is completely flooded. So these are the few places have just taken one notch level of brewery, because these folks have gone ahead and understood what customer really wants. It's only the beer, it's the liquor, because we all know the liquor has been the same, right? It's the same whiskey, it's the same across which is being served. It's just the sheer service passionate which has been taken over from the 5-star, and it's been got down to the level of brewery. The amount of they have the cooking sessions, they have the Christmas tree, New Year, Easter celebration, the Halloween. The Halloween is the biggest subject of all. The theme classes. Back in our days we had a pub, forgot his name. But anyways, there were beautiful pubs in Bangalore where they had done a dress code. Even now it's been continued. So the hustle and bustle of brewery has added value to Bangalore in many aspects. So thus, let's look at it in quick terms, in terms of the SWOT analysis, the strength, the weakness, what are the opportunities, and how they can make it better still, and how to be sustainable in this industry for longer duration of course of time. Because just understand, it's a brewery, right? It's an entertainment aspects of category for any family to unwind the weekends, or probably call the guest apart, or probably do a small celebration in these places. So thus all the breweries have beautiful ambience, wherein it's very cozy for the families, for a small group of people till the large set of people which can accustom and got together. These are the points where nobody has thought through about it, where you have liquor in the house, a very good fruit system which can give you buffet, your starters, your appetizers, amazing portions based food, varieties of cuisines. Then you have your amazing setup of your places where you can go celebrate. That's the most important of it. That's when you see family and a lot of women and corporate coming in and enjoying to the glory of God. So let's look at what happened and what are the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and the threats this particular industry of category has, and how you can make it better. And that's how I'm going to talk about it, and I leave it up to that. Just stick on to the watching. If you made it to this deep end, just go ahead and like and follow and subscribe and hit that bell notification. It does really wonders for me to go ahead and create such kind of content, specifically in the food and in the beverage industry. because Bangalore is itself a country where the content is never going to die, because we have seen the food street which has been taken off. I mean, another disclaimer, being a foodie, I could never digest ice cream dosa. If anybody could beat and tell me why it is really important, go ahead and do so, because I could never digest that. I mean, we have seen dosas from Mulbagal, we have seen MTR, CTR, Vidyati Bhavan, Udupi style. Everywhere we have seen the neer dosas, we have seen the tuppa dosa, kal dosa, the set dosas, everything. But the ice cream dosa just blew my mind off. So just to understand the Bangalore brewing success, okay, the first point is that the strengths. Let's look at it. It has a thriving food and beverage industry business. Everybody likes to eat out, specifically on the weekend. It has a very rich history, specifically in Bangalore, as I mentioned earlier, starting from 1990s, from the beer club. It just grew, taking all the cues of the Irish pub, the island from the England. Because if you remember, it's British who ruled India, and British also has highest number of pubs, and Bangalore is the only state to beat them. So take it. It's also the availability of the quality ingredients and the food, as I mentioned earlier, because of millets, because of all the barley, the wheats and the hops is primarily resourcely available, and thanks to our evergreen of water, which is beautifully set up, distilled water. I mean, the water which plays a huge amount of role in this part of the region. So that's another great thing. And also very supportive local excise government base into issue, your licenses to go ahead and set up these breweries. I mean, I remember one part of the story which is being shared by another entrepreneur currently in this brewery industry. It was very difficult for an excise department to understand to brew a beer license. Okay, I mean, being an Indian, we all know this, but I mean, probably even for Southeast Asia, we all had this rack. You remember Arak? Arak and what do you call charayam or a sarayam? I mean, so-called chemically bounded. Sometimes chemically, sometimes really fermented. Like we have the coconut toddy, we have the palm toddy, we have the ice apple toddy. So I mean, there were so many fresh brewed liquor which is available. I mean, it was all illegal to be considered. So it was quite a difficult challenge for a government of an excise for Bangalore to go ahead and understand this brewery concept. So I believe it took a while, at least to 2 years, to make them understand first and to go ahead and draft a policy for the beer, for the brewery beer concept licenses. And then what was issued first to Toit. I'm sure there were many other players as well, but the Toit was the one which received that licenses to kickstart, and it was early in 2007 or 8 when they went live with beer license, specifically with a brewery beer license. So unofficially or officially, hook or crook, whatever happened, the government is still supportive to go ahead and fund to those licenses to those main entrepreneurs to go ahead and kickstart the brewery. I mean, massive. I was told there's another Asia's biggest pub. I mean, whenever they say this, I'm sure they would have recorded in terms of the map is concerned, in terms of the size is concerned. I know for very much sure it's around 1 lakh square feet in the area, so-called the area in Iron Hill in Marathahalli. But then now we have the Byg Brewski, then we have the EAR, which has come up. I mean, massive. I mean, they could accommodate 1,800 guests at a capacity. No 5-star could do so in Bangalore. I mean, let me know if it is available. I'm sure it was available one in Gurgaon or in Bombay, but nothing bigger than EAR in Bangalore. So I guess those 2 or those 3 breweries have set up the amount of the thriving businesses where the licenses have been even more easier to achieve. Yes, it comes with a lot of capital amount, lot of investments amount. The amount of the directors for every pub or every brewery just blew my mind off. It's all on the partnership level. It's none a single guy could handle. But yes, the Iron Hill have done a wonderful concept. I would mention it here. They've taken the cues from America and from the European standards. They've set up the entire culture of brewery. They have the licenses, and they'll be the first brewery to go ahead and franchise Iron Hill as a brand across India. I would say they're already in 6 or 7 locations, specifically in the entire Andhra, Telangana, and also in Bangalore, and they're just expanding. So that thus says that government licensing to issue these licenses, it's also another great part, because if you see, I mean, being in Bangalorean, I would know this. It has always been a shared licenses from your MRP store bar or bar restaurant. where they went on to get this licenses on a rent or a lease, then they set it up. So I would say out of 70, let's say probably 50 of them are into this particular leasing concept, but only the 20 or the top 20 or the top 10 has this original license to run the brewery concept. So that's been a primary grade 5 strengths of a brewery business. Let's look at the weaknesses. Actually, as I mentioned, I've written it down as the rising competition among the breweries. So as I mentioned, there are 70 and just coming up more. So there is huge amount of competition. I mean, so every brewery has to think their entire think tank in terms of what else you could pivot in terms of your business value is concerned. So this is where the corporate has come into picture to value add, wherein the lunch is being sent. They do have the online delivery model, a lot of so-called the short bites, the short pub food. It's been sold as a category in online medium in Swiggy and Zomatos and many other delivery hubs. They do have their own logistics. They do have their own cloud kitchen which cater to the day aspects of it. So the chunk of their revenue also comes from this particular model. So rising awareness of among a lot of breweries has become a huge tantrum here. I mean, it's also, you have to understand, if you look at it in Bangalore, it's a Silicon Valley for no reason. Because it's always, there's been a power cuts, there's been an issue with water, the issue with flooding off late last 3-4 years. Any rain, it just floods in Bangalore. And these are the climatic infrastructures problem as well, because there are not precise infrastructure common which is adaptable to the family, as I mentioned earlier. Not all of them are pet friendly, not all of them are family friendly. So there is a huge chunk which they have to solve. I mean, it is just a matter of time that all the breweries would come into picture. They would form an association, I'm sure they have. But then this is what every strength and weaknesses plays according to the strength they have. Now, for example, if I take a pub or a brewery in Sarjapur Road is flooded with startups. Now, it doesn't mean that every startup they would go and fund or they party a lot at the weekend. It doesn't happen. It's just the sheer team size, pocket friendly of 15 to 20 packs would always give that churning amount of money, around 50,000 rupees. It's a great value chain and a great revenue model to adapt to this startup. But how many startups will go every day? They would also require. So thus Sarjapur has become the pub or a so-called the brewery hub right now, because there are close to 10 of them in that vicinity, and that blew my mind off. So every rising brewery becomes a huge competition. And as I said, it's also still a limited consumer awareness. So the social media, the influencer, part of it does really add value, because if you look at it, the EA was not known because only people who traveled so far, it's outskirts of Bangalore, but still, thanks to that airport road, the new airport road which connects to that adjacent road, people have got to know this huge place, and thanks to social media, all of a sudden that place has become commercialized. So, in terms of the consumer awareness, everybody knows about it, but still there are a lot of breweries, the outskirts of Bangalore, towards Kanakpura, towards JP Nagar, towards the Hosur side. People are not yet aware of such kind of places. As I mentioned, traffic plays a biggest woe to go ahead and travel all the way and set this up. So there is still a limited consumer awareness of what is brewery is all about. So that's the reason I made this video. So having said that, I mean, please go ahead and like it, follow and share. Give it a thumbs up to get this content organized. Alright, just a moment. Alright, so let's look at the great opportunities what this brewery industry has. One is that it's the expanding customer base. Believe me or not, it's added to that consumer segment of entertainment of everybody is a huge chunk for this particular of expanding consumer base. Just imagine, I remember, in my college days, college, only above college you can go ahead and drink. So the college, obviously any annual day celebration is being held at your own collegium or probably in your own studio or in your own vicinity, right? So currently it has been pivoted to all the breweries. Believe me, it is not the beer, it's very clear, because you have to sign an agreement whenever a college, educational institution or an academy comes to a brewery setup. They have to sign an agreement, get a permission from the cops or from the police saying that there's an event being held at this particular age group, so they've been frisked. So there's a huge amount of work which goes in. So the consumer base has grown from the larger student point of view as well. The sheer passion is not because of beer, it's because they want to celebrate the resonance of the annual day, or probably the graduation day in this particular breweries. I have known at least 2-3 breweries does this very much, so because they have addressed to that part of that, that the decorum of students category as a consumer base, and thus expanded their customer base, not only from the startups, also from the old Bangaloreans, also from the kids' point of view. Specifically, this college students, they have attracted it very well. They priced it very well, and the food is plenty. I mean, most of the students, if you ask me, in my age of 18, 19, 20, 21, the glutton eater. So this particular brewery has able to adapt to the student and cater to all these massive buffets and food. Primarily, you wouldn't have gotten anywhere else, even in your own college. The maximum that any college would do is small biryani and a kebab, and probably max to max samosas, chaats, and so on and so forth. But here it's a buffet spread of from a Conti to Chinese to Mediterranean to Arab to Mughalai to South Indian. I mean, it's just a spread lavish. So the expanded consumer base is being one of the great strengths or great opportunities for the brewery is concerned. The best part is that the collaboration of the festivals and local businesses. This is when the startup comes into picture. The entire R&R, what we call it as rewards of recognition, any kind of launches for a product launch, any kind of automotive, a car launch or a bike launches, now they look at brewery as a place or a standard of the consortium where they can go ahead and set up and do this business very well, because you have minimum 1,000 footfalls in a brewery. Just imagine 1,000. All you have to convert is 10 of them. It's probably the 10% of it. That's about it. Now imagine converting any kind of business of 10%. So people have actually leveraged in terms of this is another industry which is really brewing. The brewery is able to get the majority chunk of the revenue. It's about the shooting. It's about the locals, the South, the Bollywood. I mean, any kind of YouTube videos. Everything is being shot for a reason with the money costing. So they've addressed whole lot of the so-called the daily soap guys, the movie guys. They've gone ahead and adapted to the brewery concept. Some kind of story has been written on them. It's been shot well because of the ambiences. So they've expanded their collaboration with so and so people as well to go ahead. Just imagine what it could do to the value of revenue for the brewery concept is concerned. So having a collaboration with the local businesses in various concepts, as I said, it could be your automotive, it could be your entire film shooting arenas concerned, corporate doing product launches there, and also festivals celebrating Christmas. Today, Christmas starts in Bangalore in December 1st at the Advent time. Because the cake making, the wine, the stumping of wines and whatnot, the festivals has been celebrated. As I mentioned it earlier as well, is the Halloween. God, the Halloween has become many folks in Bangalore wouldn't even know what is Halloween, what's the importance of it. But then when it comes to the month of October or November, the Halloween is very well celebrated across breweries, and it's become a trend to go along with pair with the food as well as with this. But there, the decorum, the ambience completely changes into dark theme and the pumpkins all over. So it's a great collaboration. So one of the greatest opportunities to do a festival and product launch and a corporate all together in one place is one of the greatest opportunity a brewery could ever ask for. And the last one and the important one currently is the craft beer tourism. Okay, as I mentioned, since Bangalore is the capital city for the brewery city, for the breweries, for the pubs. So it's also known for a lot of great companies in Bangalore, right? So we have ISRO, we have National Aeronautic Laboratories called NAL, then we have HAL, then we have HMT, we have BEL, then we have BHEL, then we have BEML, then we have all the greatest manufacturing hubs of South India is located in Bangalore. Back in my school days, we used to visit such kind of places to see how it's maintained, what are the entire process of manufacturing. So there was always a tourism specifically for our kids has always been laid out from the school point of view. But now comes the beer tourism. This is especially for the corporate the enthusiast, for example, some kind of decorum, some kind of very niche crowd come together to explore. So the breweries have done this very well. They literally explain the amount of, what goes inside, what's the process of making beer, the entire machinery is concerned, how sacrosanct it is, the revenue aspects of it, the tasting aspect. The best part is that you get to taste all 10 types of whatever the beer they brew, specifically in Iron Hill, Byg Brewski, Aurum 1952. So many breweries here, right? So everybody does beer tourism. That's the greatest asset to actually showcase your place, showcase your ambience, showcase your food, showcase your entire beer that you have. So the beer tourism has become one of the greatest asset for a lot of, for people who come from other part of the world, other states. The first thing currently the trend is catching up, let's do the beer tourism. Just imagine if you tell your uncle and aunts, where are we going today, this weekend in Bangalore? Initially it was, in our days, it was called the Lal Bagh, then we had the museum, then we had probably, if they go to Mysore, Mysore has palace, everything else, even the Bangalore palace. But now it's nothing doing, it's just straight hitting the brewery and doing the beer tourism, beer tasting is become the finest destination hotspots in Bangalore. It's a trending, probably you never know, I've just revealed it here. So many folks who's listening to it actually can go and do a beer tourism with a group of people. It's a great thing. I think probably a small nominal fee, but then it doesn't matter because you get to taste a whole lot of beer and then probably spend time there after that. So that's a great opportunity for a brewery to inculcate custom, traditional festivals, corporates, your product launch, your strategy, your entire infrastructure is being shown, your ambience, your food, everything is being tasted and tested and very well organized. That's the beauty about brewery. Where else can you get such kind of entertainment, folks? Just imagine a live band is playing. So recently we had, never ever to be heard and spoken, forgotten band, the Las Vegas, the Venga Boys had come down. Then we had the greatest MLTR had come down. Then we had all greatest, in fact, Gypsy King was of late here in Bangalore. So it's just the greatest vibe has come back to Bangalore, and thanks to brewery. But that was the greatest thing of opportunity of one of the having breweries in Bangalore and also living up to the expectations of business. End of the day, it's all about business, because when you do a great revenue generation, only then you will be able to go ahead and spend on this access, or probably on this kind of programs wherein you can you give, you reinvest, and only then the sales happen. So that's how you increase your revenue by certain standards. So you have a very good team for social media, very good team for your event management, very good team for your event decor, very good sound systems, very good ambience, interior designer, maintenance team. All this thing come as a very great team. Specifically, not to forget the kitchen. Just a spare a thought for this kitchen, guys, man. When you have a 3,000 guests at given time in a brewery, 3,000, my dear ladies and gentlemen, just imagine it's a city on its own where the 3,000 people are living, and you're feeding them within short span of 1 hour. If your food is delayed, you have a bad service, right? Because you're going hungry, you're drinking beer which actually dehydrates you. So you need food to pair with. So the junk of the food, starting from French fries, starting from your kebabs, starting from your pizza, starting from your burgers, steaks, your what do you call? I've still not heard yet beef Wellington anywhere is available, but that on the menu is going to be really tedious for a chef. But the kitchen team does in and out and in and out. It's a struggle every day and every weekend specifically. A huge team. The kitchen team gets organized thanks to the greatest chefs there, who actually, they literally dream. I think they only visualize that this would go right. You might have a whole lot of challenges, breakages. You know how the kitchen would behave when you have 3,000 guests to cater. It's not only about the guests, celebrations, buffets, cake cuttings. Some are celebrating, some are grieving, some are mourning, some are really in grief of ex-girlfriends and wives and divorces, and you have to pair a food which goes for every occasion out there, right? So the greatest assets, and thank you for the entire kitchen team there, for whichever brewery or any industry wherever the kitchen team is functioning, really hats off. But then they keep the entire brewery in structure in place, and sacrosanct also the operations teams to make sure that the entire operations goes well. There's no fights in between, there is no shortage of food, shortage of beer, because if you remember a brewery, just to give you in context, a small microbrewery can churn around 10,000, probably a minimum of 5,000 liters of beer. Okay, 5,000 liters, and if you do not consume, you might just keep it probably 2 days, not even a 2 days. I would say just a day in that keg or in the carbonated drink. But apart from that, it just loses its sheen. It just goes for a waste. So it does a lot of sense to go ahead and keep this breweries in and out, churning in and out, churning in and out, again and again, again and again, makes matter more important, and that's when your revenue just steeps up 90 degree. It doesn't scale up like this. It just goes and stays there, and that's how you'll be able to cater. Just imagine 3,000. Keep that in mind whenever you visit a brewery. Always say thank you. Do not be rude with the chefs or the team out there. Everybody hustling and bustling and music and noisy and breakages. What not goes on in a brewery, you ask me, because not that every drinker, but then just the sheer passion of seeing Bangalore, how this business is leveraging in terms of employment is concerned, in terms of value. I mean, as I said, it adds to the value of GDP in Karnataka, specifically in Bangalore, I would say, hands down. Now let's look at the threat, the why there is some kind of analogy of having threat in this business is basically changing the regulations and the policies. The excise is very strict. The licensing is very strict. Every 6 months you got to renew it. I mean, it does really make sense. Otherwise, you'll have a far deteriorated food or a beer which is being served. There'll be a lot of loopholes, but still to address, government always steps the gear, steps the accelerator, and puts in terms of election days, in terms of the so-called the non-meat days, the non-alcoholic days, so-called the dry day. So most of the days the places are shut, just to not have any hooliganism or probably some kind of fights going on. So they literally shut this place. So in terms of regulation policies, in terms of night out is concerned, Bangalore is and in the future has become the night owl city now. Starting from 2000 in my days, we used to literally dine out around 3 o'clock in the morning. But then now it's come back thanks to the new policies here in Bangalore. Looks like all the eateries and hotels and not the alcohol concept, not the brewery, but then yes, the eateries will actually eventually end up opening for 24/7. So it's a great thing for the entire eatery joint, specifically not for brewery. So that's when the regulation and policy has been a little bit strict on this side. The huge volume of money which gets inside the relicensing or to renew your licenses, that's another greatest asset, because you have to do extremely well to keep it surviving, or else once lockdown, once you serve your the liquor which is being not served at optimum level, there's a lovely process I will explain some other day, where the entire brewery has to go pick up the liquor in one particular place. So it's a government run organization, unlike the other states. Another thing is that the fluctuating market demand for supply and demand structure is concerned for your groceries. For any matter of fact, sometimes the prices are not even for various courses, for various reasons. In particular, in geography is concerned, we all know what happened. In the month of May, we had rains. Currently, we are in the month of June, and still it's no rains to be seen in Bangalore. Otherwise, June 1st straight, the rainy season would start continuously for at least 10 hours, 11 hours. It just goes on till the month of July and August. So we don't see rain. So the huge climatic change that hinders your food chain very much. So your grocery is always a pricing fluctuation which happens. But the large brewery, the large restaurants, the large hoteliers, they literally prefix the entire price point structure. So you should have a very good supply logistics team who actually in turn looks at it, because this is the chunk of a business where you can save money and in turn give that money to the demand where customers are organizing, so that you keep your menu pricing everything well. So one of the greatest threat is a fluctuating of market demand, supply and demand policy, specifically in market. It could be also leading to the beer and water as well. Currently we see, after so many years of centuries, Bangalore is seeping out of water because there's a huge chunk of water shortage happening over a period of time. We would see that specifically when summer comes in. So water plays a great role for brewery. We all know it's 5,000, 10,000 liters in a given day alone. Just imagine dishwashing, how much of water they would waste. Then you need the cooking water. You have to cook water is essentials. One of the top reasons to have this problem is also because of water, shortage of food chains, shortage of grains, shortage of groceries here and there. So being a chef, it's not so easy to run a brewery. So that's another greatest probably I would say a threat in this industry. Another thing is that emergence of alternate alcoholic beverages. Now, this is the talk of the town. I would also do a separate subject on plant-based food and also in terms of non-alcoholic beverage, which is slowly catching up in Bangalore as well. See, South India specifically, okay, let's be honest, South India was always been a vegetarian city or a state. Licious went in, proved that wrong, saying the amount of meat eaters are more in India, but not comparatively through Americans or Europeans, because that's a meat eating every day. Here, at least on a weekend, meat is very important. Be it chicken, fish, red meat, or pork, or sausages, whatever is concerned, processed, anything is concerned. Even though it's a short prone of market comparatively on a larger scale, but still that probably 40% of the people of South India still consume vegetarian. Now, to have a vegan food coming in and to have that niche, I would see a lot of actors are promoting it. My MS Dhoni has gone to Shaka, Harry is a brand promoting plant-based. I would do another huge subject on that, another huge video. It takes a lot of time to research on it, but I'm give you a small answer. I don't know how far it's going to leverage. It's only catching up for a sheer reasons because they eat meat a lot. They see a lot of cruelty with animals. Now that's the reason it's happening there. Since the cruelty of animals is not that less here, but still, it's part of the food chain. Many people have forgetting that certain cattle are meant to be eaten. Otherwise, they would rule. They would just emit so much of gases that you cannot even control human beings, and so there are the huge science behind which revolves around the food chain concepts of being vegan, being a meat eater, so on and so forth. But coming back to non-alcoholic beverage, in those days we had only sodas and colas, but now we had the ginger ales, we have the kumbachus, then we had the toddy, which is being served completely without non-fermented drinks is concerned, carbohydrate drinks is concerned. We have so much of goli sodas have come up in life. Wherever you see now, you don't see Red Bull and cola. Obviously Pepsis and colas all over, but then you still stacked up these bottles of kombuchas and ginger ales. You have a lot of soft drink, non-alcoholic beverages come into picture. They have been growing. So I wouldn't say it's a huge threat, because when you decided to go drink a beer, it's also to get tipsy, to get alcohol, to get literally tipsy. But then such is the demand of customers these days that people still do prefer to have a non-alcoholic. This is for those who don't drink beer, or probably a complete teetotaler, would like to come to brewery but still end up drinking non-alcoholic, which is not available. Yes, they might have a lot of mocktails is concerned, but that will not drive. Just sugar water, right? Here it gives you that feeling of drinking. Same time you have that fizz, you have this taste of beer, especially when you use a ginger ale. Any ale is concerned, it's kombucha specifically. It gives you exactly the flavor of beer, probably even far better. I know a lot of brands give you far better taste, better than the beer is concerned. Whatever beer, it be the brewery beer, or probably Kingfisher, whatever brand that you mentioned. But this is the thing to taste with. But does it really require for a brewery to go ahead and serve? It's a question to ask, because as I said, they already serve mocktails as a concern. So this is one of the prime reasons of, is this an emerging kind of a system or a customer they see which really requires to serve non-alcoholic beverage in the brewery. It's a debatable thing, but then yet is right now it's one of the threats that they have. So quickly, it's about the regulations, about the licensing, it's about the policies which keep changing, specifically in Bangalore, fluctuating market demand currently during the supply for a lot of grocery, vegetables, fruits, your beer, your alcohol. Sometimes I know a brewery which did not get alcohol at least for a month for various reasons. It also boils down to your sales, how you deliver, what kind of system that you have, what processes you have. The entire decorum of brewery is also managed and maintained through technology. Many people use great technology, great system softwares to go ahead, a SaaS platform to track the sales, supply chain, inventory, corporate sales, many other things as I mentioned. Everything is under one data, it's a click of a button, it just throws outputs of data. So that's the greatest threat of being a Bangalore brewery. So with that in mind, I would just go ahead and like to just toast. Cheers, this is my water. So, so we all know Bangalore being a brimming city, a city of startups, city of life, city of cherry blossoms, city of pubs, city of light, city of pensioners paradise, and moved up across one notch level to a brewery city. This is only sheer passion because Bangalore has seen a whole lot of changes. I mentioned it earlier. From a pensioners paradise to garden city, from the garbage city, the concrete city, the traffic honk city. If you look at the Dravid ad, it would just exactly resemble in Indranagar. Honk, honk, honk. Bangalore was never lied. So folks, with that in mind, I would like to take a leave. Appreciate it. Thanks for sticking by so long, and we got to know why Bangalore was the brewery city now. So we all know how Bangalore has kept on changing his point of view thanks to the brewery city, one of the greatest asset for entertainment currently for women, kids and men, and a whole lot of boys, students everywhere can come and enjoy. It's been a sheer pleasure to go ahead and do this content because being a Bangalorean, my channel is also called the Royal Bangalore Food, primarily hitting on food and beverages concerned, the hospitality, and also in terms of new business ideas. Please do look up my Instagram page for the updates, as well as my YouTube. Gives you a whole lot of ideas. I've just started off after being shattered for 6 months, another YouTube channel. Just made me immense pleasure. So thanks for being in. I really appreciate it. Show some love, embrace what kind of required by hitting that like and follow and subscribe. With that in mind, thank you so much for sticking by. This is Paul signing off. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.